And welcome to the Press Start podcast, Press Start Australia's weekly video game discussion podcast. I'm your host, Ewan, joined today by my fellow gamers and co-hosts, Kieron,
Hello.
Shannon,
Hello.
and James.
Hello. How are we?
On the show today, we're going to discuss Gamescom's opening night live, James's Immortals of Aveum review,
Avium.
Avium review. I suddenly thought that I probably should mention that one later because we're going to discuss your Armored Core 6 Vice of Rubicon review, which is maybe the more exciting of the two. We've also got Kieron's preview of Little Nightmares 3 and review of Fort Solis, and some Jak and Daxter casting rumors. So heaps to discuss today, but firstly, I want to talk about food because it's been a while since we spoke about food, and I know we all love talking about food, and I had to share my culinary experience of the evening. Has anyone heard of these Big Mac tacos that have been like trending on TikTok?
Yes.
Yes. Have you had them before, James?
I don't know. I just felt like I would know what they taste like, and so I didn't bother. I don't know.
You're a man in pursuit of new culinary experiences.
I just need new things in my mouth, not old things.
Yep. So I cooked these
good on
tonight,
you.
and they are not for the faint of heart.
What do you
let
mean?
me tell you.
Is it a packaged good or is it? Do you have to?
Nah. It basically all it is like kind of minced beef, like squished onto a tortilla, and you kind of grill either side, and then you melt some cheese on the top, pickles, lettuce, and I'd like had some burger sauce, like just Woolies home brand burger sauce that I threw on it. And I feel like I've eaten a pound of lard. Like I feel pretty sluggish. So if I'm slower on today's show than any more than usual, that is the reason why. But let's discuss everything announced at Gamescom and the Gamescom opening night live as a whole. And Shannon, I want to start with you. What does Jeff Keighley have to do to stop people interrupting his show?
Stop holding conferences every second month would be a good start, I would say.
I feel like this is going to become a trend now, though.
Yeah,
like
twice
in
it was
a row.
such a meme the first time, so I just feel like it'd be shocking not to happen at this point.
Yeah, I guess like it would suck if the public couldn't be there, but maybe they have to be a bit tighter, like with security around the stage to avoid people dashing up.
Then it'll just be a random crew person running out from the back.
I thought it was a bit.
He's screwed either way. You thought it was a what?
I thought it was a bit, and I feel like now he has to do that as a bit next time.
Yeah,
it's kind of scary. Like, yeah, especially in America, like they could have anything. I guess they wouldn't even need to run on stage to. It's weird.
I've only ever been to the one like convention of size in the US, and that was Star Wars Celebration a few years ago. And it like blew my mind that there were like metal detectors and security screening and stuff on the way in. But I suppose there has to be. Mind you, I don't know if that a scanner detects whether or not someone is going to jump up on stage.
Yeah, and it is harmless. Like he's not. Yeah, like they're not bashing him or hitting him with Mountain Dew. Like they're just trying to get their 3-second memery in. Like it's hard. Like it's not, obviously it's not good and it's illegal, but it's like not harmful to him.
Anyhow, let's move past it as deftly as Jeff Keighley did. Kieron, you were up bright and early this morning to watch the showcase as it happened.
Yeah,
You're a bit sluggish too, but not because you ate Big Mac tacos like I did. How did you find the show as a whole?
It was fine. It was about what I expected, which was, I mean, Keighley did a good job of like setting up expectations ahead of time, saying like, we're not going to have like heaps of new surprises and announcements. It's just going to be new trailers, some release dates, some updates on stuff. So I think in that regard, like it was fine. It feels like the opening live show feels like a good kind of like semi like reset or refresh halfway through the year to be like, there's still stuff coming out the rest of this year or early next year. Like here's some solid release dates. Here's like a little bit more info. So like, I thought it was all right. Probably not worth getting up at 4 a.m. for, but it was fine.
Yeah, it is kind of like weirdly timed as well, kind of falling in between Summer Game Fest, like what traditionally that E3 period, and then the Game Awards, which tends to have a few more announcements and world premieres kind of caught up in it. But yeah, this kind of feels just like an opportunity to get excited about the games that are either like coming out that week or like in the couple of months ahead. Which very much kind of feels like we're at that space now, and probably why we've got so many previews and reviews to discuss today. James, I might throw it to you next though. What stood out to you that either like what was shown again in a bit more detail or the couple of new announcements that we had?
Not a lot for me this time. I mean, obviously, my big one was Alan Wake. Like, I'm happy to see more of that, but then it's also like so cryptic at this point. Like, I don't know if seeing stuff can excite me anymore. If that makes sense. Like, I just want to play it and see what it all means. But it looks great. That engine is doing good work. And then obviously the Mortal Kombat reveal was really good. They've all been really good. They continue to be really good. I don't know how they do it, but I'm glad.
If I'm not mistaken, they added a couple of new characters or announced another couple of new characters.
2 more characters and 2 more cameos, so like assists. And they were all good and pulled from many different games. So yeah,
nice. I love how excited you and kind of Mortal Kombat fans in general are about this release
because it's hopefully good. It delivers. It has like
the beta is this weekend.
No,
as
that
well,
was last
right?
weekend, so I got to dabble in
last
that
weekend. How was that?
It's good, but it's like annoying again because like you just want to play the full thing after that. You know, like you're playing like 6 characters out of 20 something. You just want to see how they all work and stuff. But it was good. It looks really nice. Like I know it looks good already. I know a lot of people have said that. But playing it on your TV, like super crispy, really, really colorful. Like they've done a really good job of making it look good. Yeah.
As crispy as my tacos. Some might
I think
say.
we need
I'm going to see how many
drop
times I
the
can just bring
tacos
that
now.
back up
Yeah,
today.
like I'm not really interested. I don't think anyone else is. Like that's it. Like,
they sounded like just regular tacos.
Yeah, and they were also like a fad like 2 months ago. So you're really late. Like I don't. We've moved on to Big Mac salads, Big Mac bowls now. Like so that's maybe. Anyway, Mortal Kombat looks great. I can't wait for it. They've done a fantastic job.
Not to be compared with your tacos.
You had to ruin the conversation, Ewan. But yes, anyway.
Yeah. On Alan Wake and games coming out in October, I was horrified to see that Ghost Runner 2 was confirmed for an October release. It's like, just give that game some breathing room. I feel like the first one kind of got like buried in amongst some other big releases as well, which I don't.
I think it got popular though my memory at the time, with the next gen update from memory.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. It kind of had a second wind.
But they can't do that again.
It's not going to have that luxury this time, though. But maybe it's kind of got like a strong enough cult following that it can do okay. Kieron, coming back to you. What stood out to you in the show?
I mean, it was cool to see a release date for Sonic Superstars, even though that's also an October release. Although that was like rumored a while back. Same with Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, which is an RPG I've been looking forward to for quite a while. Finally has a release date. A slight delay into next year, but it was good to see that. Other than that, like Alan Wake looked cool. I like the live action stuff they're doing with that. Remedy loves their live action little integrations. And I'm excited to replay Cyberpunk actually. Like even if I'm not even sure if I'm gonna fork out for the DLC just yet, but it was cool to see that a bunch of that stuff is coming as a free update, and the game's kind of getting its rebirth as a 2.0 release. So that's cool.
I've been thinking about going back to not that I have the time, but like going back to Cyberpunk recently because I played through the story at release and kind of didn't have the same sort of bug-ridden experience that other people did. But all the same, I kind of just like parked it and didn't do any of the side content or anything like that. And I wouldn't mind diving back in, kind of seeing how it runs nowadays. Because the optimization wasn't great when I played it. It wasn't buggy, but the optimization was a bit sluggish. I'm not doing it. But yeah, I'm keen to see like how it holds up nowadays, and if I can get the ray tracing and stuff turned on, which I really couldn't do last time. one of the things I was excited to see announced, though, Kieron, was Little Nightmares 3, and quite surprised to see that it's coming from Supermassive this time, as kind of their first foray into the franchise.
Yeah.
You have had the opportunity to preview the game, play a bit of it. How did you rate what you played?
I sadly didn't get to play it. It was
it's a hands-off. One of these hands-off previews is catching me off again.
Yeah, sorry, Ewan.
Catching me off.
God damn it.
But no, I did get to see quite an extended look versus what they showed off at the Game Awards in that initial trailer. And yeah, it was at first I was surprised as well to see Supermassive. I mean, obviously the original devs got bought out by Embracer a few years ago, so they're not touching it anymore. But yeah, Supermassive felt like an interesting choice. It definitely looks like what you'd expect from a Little Nightmares game in terms of the same 2.5D kind of semi-stealth puzzle-based gameplay. But obviously the big difference is they've got co-op. And that's probably the most standout thing that I've seen or that I've taken away from it is it's so fully integrated into that co-op ecosystem. So all of the puzzles require all of the ones I saw require two people to solve.
Right.
It's got AI if you are playing solo, so you don't have to have someone along with you. But it's definitely the kind of game that I would want to play with someone else. And I feel like the first two games had a bit of that same social aspect that Supermassive's other games have, where it's fun to watch people play and it's fun to be in the room when other people are playing it.
For
it's
sure.
Just so unique and vibey like that. So I think it lends itself really well to co-op. And the level that they played for us is super different. It's very orange and brown, dusty desert kind of area and dilapidated castle sort of environment. So yeah, I thought it looked really cool. I'm excited.
Yeah. It's interesting to see the kind of place that Supermassive is in now. Clearly Bandai has kind of shopped this property around, I suppose, a little bit. And I can imagine it being something Supermassive would be keen to try their hand at, something a bit different from their suite of games. Is this one that would be on your radar at all, Shannon?
I don't think so. I like Supermassive games, and the premise of this has always stood out to me, but I haven't played the first two, and I
can't imagine you would need to jump into this.
Yeah, but I feel like I'd be being dishonest if I've never played the first two. Then I said I was really keen for this.
From what I recall, I don't know if I played Little Nightmares 2 or if it was as you described, Kieron, I sat there and watched my brother play through it. But I can't remember the story being interconnected all that much.
They are.
There's a universe, and there's places and characters and stuff that carry over, but you could definitely play them in a vacuum if you wanted to.
2 is a prequel.
Yeah.
Kinda, yeah.
No, I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, watching
There's
the
not
trailer.
Much story to it though, right?
I do kind of want to play them. I think I even got it on Switch before a long haul flight once and just didn't play it. But yeah, it has always been on my list of games to just chuck on while I'm in bed or something.
Yeah, so, they're not long games either. You can power through them in a few hours.
It's Did we learn much about why and how Supermassive ended up on this? Because that just seemed really left field.
I guess just because Bandai has them in their little stable of studios and they have experience with horror and co-op and stuff. But when they introduced the gameplay before they showed any of it in this behind closed doors preview, they did sound really passionate about the franchise and they really understood what people liked about it and wanted to kind of put their own spin on it. So they may have even volunteered or put their hand up to say, hey, we'll take this on, kind of thing. I don't know what the answer is, but they seem like a good fit.
They also said, I remember they said when they finished number 2 that they were kind of over it a bit, so they were happy for it to move on to another dev. And obviously the Embracer thing probably helped push that along.
I actually think Supermassive did the enhanced edition next gen version of Little Nightmares 2 as well, so that probably factors into it.
Right. Shannon, I didn't give you the opportunity before, but was there anything else at Opening Night Live that jumped out to you? Were there any trailers that sizzled your sausage?
Did you just go back to that for that?
I was trying to find some sort of idiom, and for
Opened
some reason
your taco.
in mind.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Yeah.
Tickled your taco. Is that what you said?
But
That's
tickled
amazing.
Tickled
Oh.
tickled is better. Anyway,
I ate my lunch and skipped through it, and like, yeah, it was definitely. There's so much coming this year and early next, so like, I'm not surprised we didn't get any announcements. I made a little list that I'll quickly run to. Definitely Cyberpunk I had on my list just because I didn't really play it much at launch, and I'm glad that they're releasing a 2.0 version of that. Thank goodness You're Here looked cool from Panic, and Black Myth looks really good still. And it was cool to see that in like a big showcase like this for sure. But yeah, it was there were so many good games in it. Like it was banger to banger to banger from start to finish. Just not really like a press conference that we'd expect. But
yeah, well, do go and check out the preview over on the site of Kieron's, and there's a write up as well of all the announcements and things that were shown there with all the trailers and stuff embedded. It's a good way to consume it if you missed all of it. But James, I want to come your way now with one of the most anticipated games of the year. That is, of course, Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. You have now got your full review out in the world. I know there'll be a lot of people eager to hear your thoughts on the game. So how did you find the complete package?
Yeah, I liked it overall. It's just like, I say this in my review as well. It's really bizarre that obviously they did Armored Core before this, right? But since then they really kind of found their footing with all those open world action RPGs like Sekiro, Elden Ring, obviously the Souls games and stuff. So to see them kind of go back is really weird. But good. Like, and I say this, like, it surprises me in a good way that like this plays so much like the old games in terms of it just being, it's really just menus with missions. You know what I mean? Like, that's like, I feel like it's really rare that you kind of get a game like that these days. But it is very faithful to what Armored Core was. But it's very tough. Like, maybe even the hardest I've played, I think, of theirs. Which I think some people might find a little bit disappointing because obviously I know Elden Ring was still quite difficult, but there were a lot of options and stuff that kind of made it easier in a way without kind of diluting it. Armored Core isn't like that. Like, you'll get to a boss and you'll just be stuck on it for like 3 hours, and that's just how it is. Like, you have to kind of go back, tinker with your mech, try and make that better. But overall, like, it is very tough. Which is fine for me. Like, I like that. I really find that challenging gameplay super rewarding. Like, when you come out on top. But I think that will turn a lot of people off. And I think it being so limited in what it is will also, I think, turn a lot of people off. I think a lot of people are going to go into this expecting like, I don't know, like Dark Souls with mechs or like Elden Ring with mechs or something like that. And it's definitely not that.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing at all. But that is, I think, what a lot of people might be thinking for a game that retails at 110. You know? Like,
yeah. So is it a bit like Elden Ring in the sense that if you kind of do confront a challenge, there's an opportunity to go and do other things and improve your mech or experiment with different kind of customization options, or are you kind of at a brick wall and you've got to just power through?
I mean,
it to progress?
You can kind of go back and there's certain missions and stuff that you can do to like earn money and go buy different bits for your mech.
Sure.
But what I like about this, once again, this is something that people might hate, is like you'll find a piece like for your suit that will have better stats in one area, but will probably have worse stats than what you've got in another area. So there's not like it's not like some RPGs where like you kind of get a sword and that's the better sword. You just use that from now until you get another better sword. With Armored Core,
sure,
you're always kind of chopping and changing your suit to match whatever you need to do. You might have a really fast enemy or a really powerful one, so you have to adjust your speed or your armor, whatever. But there's no one piece that does better than everything else you've already got on there. Like, you kind of there's got to be a compromise somewhere. And I like that. Like, I think it makes you actually have to think about what you're doing and the choices that you're making with your customization and stuff. But yeah, to answer your question, like, no, like, you really, it is old school FromSoft in that way. Like, you do have to really kind of just stick at it and come out on top. Yeah.
Is there like how's like the world building of the
so
game? That's obviously something that's really
this is like the other thing that like I
other.
hate, but I think people will maybe like is, like I said, it's just menus. There's some cutscenes like throughout, but overall, you'll like go to your garage with your mech. It's just like a picture of your mech sitting there with really nice ray tracing, but that's the only place in the whole game where there's ray tracing is in your garage with your mech. And then there'll be just like a little like audio line, like playing a voice clip at you, someone yelling at you or telling you what you're gonna do next, and that's it. Like that's the whole.
Right.
That's like 90% of the story is delivered to you that way. So like,
yeah,
and the story is like this, like kind of corporations are like pillaging a planet for this natural resource that's really rare, and you're stuck in the middle, and you're a merc who's gonna go, fight for different sides, and it's just like, to me, it's just like whatever. Like I just don't care. Like I don't think it's as like say involved as Elden Ring or like Dark Souls or anything like that. Very like hands-off approach. Like you have to go and read files to kind of get the whole thing, but it's not interesting to me. Like it's just so whatever.
Sorry, I was listening, but I got distracted by Kieron's cat.
Okay. No, that's fine.
I might need to add like a marker here so I can like shift Kieron's view to reveal the cat cam.
Just on the cat.
Yeah.
And I also played Stray. But
I'm getting the sense you're kind of a little bit more down on it than you were perhaps Elden Ring, which I know you really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Is that the case?
I'm not down on it. It's just you asked me about the two things I didn't like the most first. So everything else I loved. Like I think it's the most fluid it's ever been. Other Armored Core games, you'd have to like kind of hold your controller backwards and like to create this like weird claw-like grip to play it properly, but you don't have to do that with this. It's all very streamlined and works really well. But overall, like it's really good. Like I really enjoyed it overall. It's just I just didn't like the story particularly. But if you liked the story of old Armored Core games, you probably will like this. Do you know what I mean? Like that's not a big thing to me because the gameplay is just so solid. And then if you don't want to engage with like the customization as much, there's like an arena mode where you can fight other cores, like other mechs. And if you beat them, you get their like schematic, so you can make that core if you've got the bits yourself. So if you don't want to engage with the customization much and you just want to use this really cool battle you just fought, you can use that in battle yourself,
Yeah.
Which is cool.
That's neat. I can imagine that being a good way to like discover new builds.
Yeah, because then you can just like copy one of them and kind of change it yourself if you need to, Yeah, but it is very tough. But the battles are so fun. Like there's this giant spider thing that morphs halfway through the battle into a jellyfish and just like shoots but it's like a mech version of all that stuff. Like it's really cool.
Yeah. I mean that sounds like a second phase of the bosses as we might know them in Souls games.
Yeah,
like that's neat. I suppose my last question for you then, and Shannon and Kieron, yes, feel free to jump in with questions of your own should you want to as well. But do you think like, and this is a question we've grappled with before, like as you previewed the game and we've pondered this, do you think if you've played From Software games as of late, be it an Elder Scrolls or a Souls game or a Bloodborne, would you be encouraging them to go and pick this up and play this day one? Or
I would.
Okay,
like I mean, just be warned. Obviously, there's no big open world to kind of get lost in. But if you, I guess it depends on what you enjoy about those games, right? But I feel like a big majority of people would enjoy the challenging nature of it, which it is. Like it has that. And I was thinking about these bosses that I'm fighting. Like they are tough, but like it's that kind of situation where I don't know if you guys have ever had this in games, is where you know exactly what you've got to do, but like you just can't seem to get your hits in perfectly, or you get too greedy and then get smacked down and stuff. Like it's literally the same vibe as like Dark Souls, Elden Ring, etc. But like, I still think definitely still try it. Just be warned, obviously, that it is a chapter based action game, which is like cool because you might have like a 3-minute mission where you just go pick something up, but then that other missions might progress and you'll get ambushed, and then like it becomes like it escalates. Like, and I really like that aspect. You do feel like a merc, who's like going on their way to an easy job, but then it just escalates really well. Like, I don't know. Like, I think it's really solid. I think it's worth a try. But do be warned, there's no difficulty options. You just have to be good at it and get good at it.
I can see it actually like appealing to someone that maybe doesn't have the time to spend like 100 hours with an Elden Ring, but they can kind of jump in and do like a 10-15 minute mission.
Yeah, like what if Elden Ring had a boss gauntlet? Like, that's kind of what it is in a way. Yeah. But I do recommend it, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, do go and check out James's full review of Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon over on the website, where you also find Kieron's review of Fort Solis. And Kieron, not to kind of spoil your sentiment on the game, you seemed a little bit down on it based on our initial conversation before the show.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Do you want to say any more about the game?
The tricky thing is, I was quite down on it, and then they had the like Troy Baker and the other folks on stage at the opening night live this morning, and they were like, "Yeah, it was made by a team of 10 people. It's a real indie effort." And I was like, "Oh." I feel like maybe I was a bit harsh, but at the same time, it's just like,
go.
Yeah, no.
You have to assess what you have in front of you at the end of the day.
Absolutely, yeah. Just retroactively.
It's still like $40. It's fine. Like I know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no. Like I was. I guess the gist of the review, or like my main criticism of it is it's a 4-hour game, and it feels like it has about an hour's worth of ideas in it.
Right.
And so it's like essentially it's a walking sim. It kind of like at first glance looks like it might be like a Dead Space style horror game, and it's got similar vibes, but it's very much just like a walking sim where you explore this like derelict station and try to piece together like what happened to the crew that was there on Mars. There's like a mystery. There's like a situation that happened that you have to kind of piece together through video logs and all that kind of stuff. It's just like nothing about it feels overly like original or unique, like story wise or gameplay wise. And there's just so much walking. I said, like it's a 4-hour game. I think if you had a sprint button, it would be like an hour and a half, 2 hours tops.
But not like in a cool and mysterious Death Stranding way, like just a
just trudging along, just backtracking. Like slowly ambling your way through like corridors, realizing you have to go back because you need a key to that corridor, and then going back and doing that. And I don't know, it's just any sense of tension is just gone as soon as you start playing. And I feel like a game like this needs that sense of tension and unease to really work. Otherwise, it's just walking around picking up audio logs. And for some reason, in the year 2080, when people live on Mars, they record everything in like single-use audio recorders and just drop them around the place. It's just like. Yeah, some really cool ideas, and I do really like the idea of these like condensed narrative experiences where you just go in, it sets a scene, you see that scene out, and then it's like that's it, you're done, and you've had the experience. But it's just like there's not enough to it at all.
Yeah, I mean the way you kind of described that almost sounded like, oh, this could have been Firewatch but in space, which would have really appealed to me. But yeah, it doesn't sound like they've executed the kind of storytelling side of things quite so well. And yeah, it is such a frustration when you're like just trudging through corridors or hallways or game world that you've experienced like a million times over. It's a path you've already walked a million times over, and you're just moving slower than you want to be. It's
is there combat, or is it like purely
there's it's the closest. It's really distracting because your camera's like stopped moving on my end, so you're talking but like not moving at all, and it's hilarious.
You've got a cat playing behind you, so we're all getting distracted.
No, there's a couple of like QTE sequences. I don't want to spoil like what the actual situation is in this game too much, but there's not really that much of a threat most of the time. And the QTE sequences, like, they pop up so infrequently and so randomly, and you can't fail them, that sometimes I just like forgot or like didn't notice that they were there, and the scene just kind of played out anyway, which is a bit awkward. Yeah, the best thing the game has going for it, or the best two things, is like it's really, really pretty. It's like on the Unreal Engine 5.2. They're using like the lumen lighting, and like the surface of Mars is really moody and stuff the couple of times you get to go out there. And the voice acting and the performance capture. It's got Troy Baker and Roger Clark and Julia Brown, I think, in it. Like they all do a really, really good job. So that's got that going for it. It's very cinematic.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, hopefully there's enough kind of promise there that whatever they then move on to next delivers a little bit more.
Yeah.
James, I want to come back to you. You've got another review that I was eager to quiz you on, and that's Immortals of Aveum. I pronounced it correctly that time?
But it's fine.
Aveum?
Yeah.
Damn it! No. This is going to be Arceus all over again.
I don't think we're talking about the game.
Oh, I thought you were quiet.
But everyone's going to forget about it, and it's like the greatest injustice this year, I reckon.
He's mad.
Yeah. No, I'm not mad.
Oh, he's mad.
Talk about that.
He's mad with other reviewers.
I'm not. No, I don't do that. Everyone can have their opinion, except commenters.
They're just wrong.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway,
tell us what you like about the game.
What do I like about the game? First of all, it's like everyone's saying it's like COD with magic, but it's freaking like Metroid Prime with magic. Like that's already so far more up my alley than whatever that they said it was. I think they were super underselling it in that way. I kind of get why you would say it was COD instead of Metroid, given how many millions COD sells compared to Metroid. But overall, like it's a really good game. Like I'm kind of shocked that people didn't like it. I do admit it starts off really slow. But yeah, like it's got open world level design, but like not too open world. Like it feels like Tomb Raider, the new Tomb Raider games in a way.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
I love this already.
Like it's not like big fuck off fields to go and explore. It's
that you walk too slowly across.
Like, and you've got like a grapple hook and like and then the combat is like Doom. Like it's this really fast paced. Like where you've got to like juggle all this shit. And I will say I have noticed a lot of people complaining about that, and I do understand that. I did think that myself. You do have a lot of tools at your disposal that you kind of have to use in like more intense battles and stuff. So it can feel like a lot to remember all the buttons, which is not something I normally ever complain about. But yeah, that is something I guess to maybe think about. But yeah, overall, like COD-like cinematic main missions mixed with Metroid Prime exploration mixed with like Doom's combat. Like it's what.
Yeah, I'm 100% in.
And
like,
the plot is like
okay.
Like it's not the best thing I've ever, because obviously it's about there used to be 5 kingdoms and they're warring over the control of magic, and there's this like I was about to ruin it, but like overall like it's a very good like world. Like they've built so much. Like I almost was like, was there some comic book or movie that I should have watched before playing this? Like it feels so fleshed out. And that's why like I really hope this does well, because like I think it would be such a shame to throw all of this away. Like it's a really cool setting, in a really cool world with amazing gameplay. Like, and you can just see them improving on. Like I don't see a lot of areas where they can improve, besides obvious ones. Because you can see, like, there's some enemies are repeated and stuff, but, like, overall, like, it's pretty good for, like, technically it's indie. I know EA publishes it, but it's
also a debut title, really,
yeah, but they've all worked in the industry for ages, so I don't really know how much...
Okay.
Like, I don't know what you can say with that.
How much stock
but building a new studio and working with, like, Unreal Engine 5, like, I guess that would have helped them a lot, because that is apparently super easy to work with. Looks really good. I don't know. It's just cool.
You said enough. I'm sold.
I think everyone needs to give it a shot. Like, I think the opening chapter is shit, like, for sure, but they're just setting stuff up, because you start off in, like... Because the setting that it starts off in is, like, it's like a giant bridge, and under the bridge is, like, all the poor people, and above the bridge is, like, the royals and stuff. And, like, we've all heard that done that before, right? But, like, once it all gets going...
we've powered through some slow opens in games before, like...
There is some...
Wolfenstein was one of the famous ones, right? And then... Horizon we were kind of down on, and Dying Light 2 we were also kind of down on, so I reckon it's just
really good. Like I really enjoyed it, maybe because I wasn't expecting anything, I don't know, but like I was so shocked at how much I loved it.
Is there...
I suppose sorry Kieron, go for it.
No, I was just gonna say, like, is there, like, the one thing I think that I've seen people like not complaining about but questioning is just like the value proposition, because it is like a completely single player, like, just play through it kind of game. Is there a lot of reason to like stick around in it once you've finished it? Is there quite a bit of content?
Yeah, so the main story takes about, I would say, about 18 to 20 hours to get through. You could probably get through it quicker. But then once you've done it, there's also, if you want, I mean, obviously, like the best reason to stick around is achievements and trophies, of course. But in terms of like after you finish the game, there are 6 hidden enemies to find who are like post-game enemies. Like they're very powerful.
Oh.
And I've only done 2 so far, but they were tough. And yeah, like, and to get to that point, you kind of have to have all your upgrades and stuff. So you can go find some collectibles, like Metroid kind of style, to upgrade your powers, your damage, your gear. Yeah, so like to me, like, I mean, 25 hours is more than a COD game. I reckon you could probably get through. Like, I'm trying to think if you could rush it, like, but you can't really rush it. There's like a lot there. Do you know what I mean? And it's not like it's not boring either. Like, it's taking you, when you go to do a level, some of them will be these intense battles where you're like, you know, fighting against another faction and like invading their kingdom or whatever. But then other levels are like big puzzle filled dungeons. Like, there's a lot of variety there. And it's not afraid to just let you breathe a little bit and just go and like do these puzzles and solve them and get through a temple to find this MacGuffin. You know what I mean? Like, it's a really good mix of like of gameplay types, and I'm genuinely shocked to see people giving it so low scores, because it's like
I was going to ask about the main character, because I think a lot of people had an issue with that, and I've watched like 2 or 3 like high school shows with him, and like it did shock me that they cast him in something that feels like this world. Like, how was he in this world?
So his name is Jak, spelled J-A-K, which I had to kind of do a double take because like that, to me, that name's already been taken. But
where's Daxter?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I feel like I know what people mean, and I feel like this is also one of those games where you could probably take a few clips out of context and they would seem really bad. But the story is that he's like this kind of young, immature dickhead who like gets his powers late and then gets kind of thrust into this world where he kind of discovers everything along with the player. Like, I think it fits. Like, I know, and I do say in my review, sometimes the jokes do get a bit cringe, but like, I also think it's quite refreshing to play a game that looks medieval, is really sci-fi, but everybody speaks normally. Like, it's not just people speaking like I'm trying to think, like, you know what, like, where are you, my fair maiden? That you. Kind of talking. I don't, you know what I mean? Like ye olde English kind of. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it does almost feel very like Serenity 5, like in that way. But yeah, like. He is a bit dickheadish, but like I just feel like that's the point, and he makes some really dumb choices throughout the story, but that creates this really great tension and drama towards the end of the story too. Like, I feel like it fits. It's a good fit, and he's obviously, they've done that on purpose because they play him off against like Gina Torres, who obviously was in like Suits and also I think Serenity, and she's like his very like older stoic like commander, I guess, and they are played off of each other quite well. Like, I think they do that really well too. I just think they've done really well, like in so many aspects.
I suppose I need to ask then, unless Shannon's got another question. Before
I was just gonna say, like, to me, it just like looks like Ghostwire Tokyo. Like, is it just Ghostwire Tokyo?
So so Ghostwire Tokyo, I did think that for a little bit, but Ghostwire Tokyo had like 3 spells with 3 abilities. This has like 18 spells and abilities, and all of them have a use in combat and exploring. So you might have like a spell that slows stuff down in combat, which is really helpful for like hitting a specific weak spot or something like that. But then you might also be able to slow down like a revolving door or a closing door or something like that to be able to get through a puzzle. Like, it feels a lot more involved than Ghostwire Tokyo. And I do feel like the people who made this obviously understood a lot about what makes FPSs work. I did like Ghostwire, but obviously there was a lot of limitations there. The setting was great, but that was really about it. Whereas with this, like, everything is great. Yeah, it is. I know what you mean. Like I can see how people would think this is like Ghostwire, but it's not. It's like just so much more. As much as I liked Ghostwire, I admit that I probably liked it more than most people did. Same with this, but I just think this is like a step above in like every aspect.
I am tempted to kind of ask you then, given how positive you are on it, like, is this on your shortlist for Game of the Year? Like, is this top 10, top 5 material?
I'm not going to commit yet, but it's definitely top 10 easily. I've played like a lot this year.
Cool.
But I did just start Baldur's Gate 2 days ago. So we'll see where that sits. But like, I reckon it would. This has a good chance of being in my top 5 for sure.
There's so much still.
I was going to say, but like, there's about 47 games coming out in the next 2 months that probably also appeal to me. So like, it's
and Mortal Kombat's going to take up the top 5 spots anyhow, right?
Individually, the beta is one spot and the game is another. But like, but yeah, we'll see.
Nice. Well, do go and check out that review alongside all the others in the previews over on the site. And Shannon, we've kept you quiet, but I want you to get nice and loud and vocal for this next topic because it's Jak and Daxter's casting rumors. We reported on some rumors that a live action film adaptation of Jak and Daxter could feature Tom Holland as Jak and Chris Pratt as Daxter, with the two actors currently being eyed for the roles. I imagine you'll have some thoughts on this.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't like. Had this ever been even spoken about in terms of Jak and Daxter getting a movie? Because I feel like it was just so out of the blue.
I think they announced the director a while back.
Wow. Okay.
Potentially.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand how it would even work in how it's described. Yeah, I get it. Like, I get why you would need those two names attached to something like this. Like, I'm surprised there's enough money there to even do that for this franchise that they like won't even speak about or release a new game for. Yeah, but it fits. Like, who else are you going to get to play these characters? Like, it does fit for me. I don't mind it. I don't hate it. It's going to be ridiculous. Yeah. Like, it's going to be stupid, but I feel like it almost has to be that for this to exist, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a difficult one. I feel like they're kind of like Hollywood's kind of it man at the moment, which I think Tom Holland's probably got more range. And granted, I haven't kind of seen his full extent of his performances, but I feel like he's got quite a range. Chris Pratt, I'm very over Chris Pratt at this point. He's probably well suited to Daxter, to be honest. I almost wondered if like I'm blanking on his name now, but the guy that played Rocket Raccoon, Bradley Cooper, like I wonder if that's a similar sort of role. Like, could he kind of do something similar again? But I suppose you're right that they kind of need some draw cards, and maybe that's these two guys. Maybe it's not enough to say, from the game studio that brought you Uncharted and The Last of Us,
and Jak and
Daxter. Yeah,
and I feel like Tom Holland did go a long way to making Uncharted the movie a success. Like, I know that's like more of a one-to-one role for him, but I just feel like he's gonna land in that spot with these Sony franchises now. This might be a dumb question, but are we thinking Tom Holland is going to be like a furry man and Chris Pratt is going to play like a CGI
like cats
Daxter? Yeah, like that's because you can kind of see it. Like, Jak is kind of like, he's human like in stature, and Tom Holland is a small person, so like chuck some kind of furry wig on him and you're done. Really, in my mind, but is that not a possibility?
I don't know. Like, the game is so stylized that I'm struggling to see how you would adapt it into like a live action sort of thing. I feel like it would kind of need to be very fantasy-esque. Okay. And I expect Daxter would be a CGI thing, just voiced by Chris
we
Pratt.
can only hope that it's Tom Holland and then Chris Pratt on all fours just chasing after him.
He's there on set doing all the motion capture.
I don't know. I have a hard time believing this just because, again, like, that's like what, $10 million in talent or something around that, I would say, for these two. And I just can't, like, Uncharted and Jak and Daxter are like worlds apart in Yeah, even like Twisted Metal is more recognizable than Jak and Daxter, I think. So I just have such a hard time believing this, but it'd be cool to see.
Yeah, and it would be a very different role for Tom Holland too, because Jak, at least like in 2 and 3, less so in the first, but he's like quite dark and brooding.
Yeah.
Like almost maybe something more suited to Timothy Chalamet.
Oh God, no.
than Tom Holland.
Look, I'm sure they were both fighting for the role equally.
But I guess like in the first one, he's kind of like a teenager and a bit kind of dopier, so like that maybe suits him a bit better. But yeah, like it's a weird character in either way. Like I feel like Daxter kind of really carries a lot of it. Yeah, Kieron, have you got any opinions on this?
No, not really. I just like I don't. Yeah, I'm with Shannon on like I don't know why they would do a movie if they've abandoned the like franchise as far as games go.
Maybe they haven't. Maybe there's one around the corner. Maybe Bluepoint's making one.
Lead with a Tom Holland Furman movie.
Maybe it's what Sony Bend are up to.
Oh God,
I'd love that.
I wouldn't.
Like a game existing at all, not necessarily so.
If they did this and then they did Jak 4, which was like more realistic and more like God of War, a God of War type transition, like that would make sense because like you're going to bring in like that core PlayStation audience with these names. Like I would love that, but then the movie would have to be really good, or that would be a fuck up for both.
I just don't. Like, as much as I love Jak and Daxter, it was just a very 2000s game. And I just don't... Like, what would a God of War-esque reboot look like?
Was there a Ratchet and Clank movie, or did I make that up?
Yeah, there was.
An animated one.
An animated one, yeah. And that was kind of, like, coincided with the, like, remake of the first coming out.
Yeah.
And they kind of told the same sort of story. I think, like, weren't, like, the cutscenes, like, basically from the movie in the game? Yeah.
You could do that somehow.
Honestly, like, I would probably be down for something like that more so than... I don't know. I do have a rapid fire question for you all. Speaking of Chris Pratt and the not made famous, he did plenty of other things before, but he also voiced Mario. And I want to speak about Charles Martinet stepping away from voicing Mario and not being featured in Super Mario Bros. Wonder. He instead be serving as a Mario ambassador, or as Mario ambassador. I don't know if it had a the or an in front of it, but Mario ambassador. So still actively involved at Nintendo. But the rapid fire question I have for you all today, that just felt like I vomited words at everyone.
Yeah. He's the only ambassador for Mario.
Yeah. Rapid fire question for the day. Who voices Mario here on out? James, let's start with you.
Anya Taylor-Joy, I reckon.
Oh.
With the script.
As
Mario and Luigi.
Pivoting from Peach to Mario and Luigi. Yeah. Okay, cool. I like it. Shannon?
Timothy Chalamet, fresh off Jesse Jack's role. I don't know, but apparently, like in Wonder, he's not featured. So I need to go back and look at that to even see if there's much of a difference. Is there?
Yeah.
Did he even speak? Yeah, Zendaya is just there backing up Tom Holland in his video game roles. I don't know.
He does sound different, but only when you get
Charles Martinez's son.
Martinet.
Oh, passing the baton.
The secondary ambassador.
In the Mario ambassador in training. Kieran, do you have a prediction / request?
I don't know. It would suck if they were using like an AI Charles Martinet, like Nintendo just got on the forefront
with him still alive.
Yeah, with him still walking the earth.
Okay, so this is my controversial take on it, perhaps. I think they've recorded all the lines they ever need Mario to say, and they'll just use those.
Maybe he just did like a marathon recording session at the end.
And they don't have to pay him anymore.
Read out the dictionary.
Yeah, he just like says "whoa" like 100 times, and they're like, "Yeah,
that was pretty good." I vote you.
Can you imagine? I've got the Mario hat somewhere. I should have like brought it on and auditioned for the role of Mario. Maybe I do that next week. Tune in to find out. For now, though, let's play What the Wiki, the Press Start podcast game show where the previous week's winner reads part of a Wikipedia page from an unknown game, and we, the contestants, must guess the game. A point is awarded for each correct guess, and the round ends after one person scores 2 points. Last week, that was Shannon, who moved up into second place, tied with James on 20 points apiece. Brody is safe today, though. He's 3 ahead on 23 points. Kieron, that puts us in third with 17 points each. We have Harry with 1 point and James W. nil point. But Shannon, you were last week's winner, which means you are in the hosting chair today. Take it away when you are ready.
And because Brody loves What the Wiki, and it is the highlight of his week, and he could not be here, I did go to him to come up with a special theme that I will lead with, but will not reveal. I imagine
he's been strategic then, if he's picked the games. He doesn't want anyone to get the bonus point.
There is no, it will all make sense. There is no tomfoolery at play. Brody believes in the sanctity of What the Wiki more than anyone else.
He really does. It's true.
Okay, right. With that ado, this will probably be more of a mess than normal because I haven't done any of this.
Yeah, this will be interesting.
The game is an action-adventure game developed by Ubisoft Montreal and published by Ubisoft for the Xbox 360, Wii, PlayStation 2, GameCube, Nintendo DS, PlayStation Portable, and Windows on March 2007.
Ewan.
Yes.
Is this Assassin's Creed 3?
No. Versions of the game for the original Xbox and PS3 were also planned, but cancelled. Yes, Kieran.
Oh, wait. No, you threw me with that.
Yeah, that was weird.
It's not Beyond Good and Evil HD.
No.
Can I go?
Oh my god, shut up. Let him read more.
I don't know whether to read that bit. Yes, you're all back in. So
fucked already.
Do you want to go again?
Ewan, yes, I'll guess.
Yeah.
For the sake of it. Is this Raving Rabbids?
It's not. I feel like Ewan's never going to get it.
Damn it!
The gameplay contains many acrobatic segments in the vein of another Ubisoft game series, Prince of Persia. Oh. It features 16 story levels and 16 unlockable challenge levels. The game features 4 playable characters, each with their own unique fighting style and abilities. It encourages cooperative gameplay as the player will have to use each character's ability to navigate through their environment. The game is based on a 2007 film of the same name.
Oh, God.
That is all I've got.
James?
Yes,
it's
James.
The Golden Compass, is it?
It's not. It's 007 No Time to Die. It's
not.
No, it's not. It's not.
James.
Oh God. Yes. Yeah.
It's not Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game of the movie.
Not Peter Jackson.
What has Brody done to us? Oh no.
Ubisoft secured the rights of the game from the game/series from Konami, who had previewed all of the previous games in the franchise.
What?
The game's creator said the game is all about the emotions associated with family and teenage angst.
This is getting worse. This is getting more
difficult. It focuses on 4 brothers finding out their differences and getting through family problems.
Kieran. But I don't know what the title is. Shit. But it's
just give me a clue.
Is it Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles something?
Oh.
Can I go?
Just go. Just take it.
Yeah.
Does it need like a subtitle? Is that what you're saying?
There is no subtitle.
Yeah, I reckon.
But
is it TMNT?
Oh.
It is TMNT, and I do feel like in this case that is.
Yeah, I think we pay it to James personally.
Yeah,
no, I'm gonna pay it to James just because I'm gonna let everything run its course.
I agree.
So that no, give it to Kieran then.
No, I don't want it.
He doesn't. It's dirty.
God, this is absolute chaos.
Yeah, in its finest form. All right, let's
James
go.
has come away with a point. He's on 21.
The game is a video game developed by that company, and published by Sony Computer Entertainment.
Ewan. Is this Flower?
It is Flower. Well done, Ewan.
That was like a 1 in 3.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. I was like, I bet it's the obscure one.
I miss Flow.
Mm-hmm. The no ones? Yeah, okay. Game number 3. The game is a 2014 action-adventure game published by Sony Computer Entertainment for the PS4. The player-controlled protagonist possesses superpower abilities that players use in combat.
Ewan.
Oh.
Who was it?
That was James. Do you have an adjudication in that?
I didn't hear Kieron at all, but did Kieron say? Did you say your name, Kieron?
Kieron, I'm gonna go to you.
Oh wow. Okay.
Shit. Is it Infamous Second Son?
It is an Infamous Second Son. Well done, Kieron.
Fuck. Well done.
Sorry, Ewan.
This is going to be a real
tiebreaker.
Incredible game to end on. The game is a boxing video game developed by Electronic Arts. It is a sequel to another game in the series, which was released in 2005. This particular game was released in February 2006 for the Xbox. Yes, Kieron.
Is it Fight Night Round 2?
It is not Fight Night Round 2. The game was released in February 2006 for the Xbox, Xbox 360, PlayStation Portable, and PlayStation 3.
Yes, is it Fight Night Round 3?
It is Fight Night Round 3.
Are you serious?
That's such a Brody game.
Does anyone know the theme of today's events?
Wait, okay, so we had Fight Night Round 3, we had Flower, we had Infamous Second Son.
And TMNT.
And TMNT.
Is he saying that we're like all the turtles?
Oh, yeah.
What about the rest
no,
of them?
So according to Brody, who again, I'm going to take his word for this, that apparently this was the four of you, including Brody's first platinum or whatever the Xbox version of that is.
Oh my God.
Right. Yeah, Infamous Second Son might have been my first platinum.
It was.
That's like,
I don't think that's accurate.
That's kind of embarrassing.
Wait, so whose first platinum was Fight Night Round 3?
Brody. That was Brody.
I knew that was Brody's.
It was between going that or Virtua Tennis for me, and both were
equally. So mine must be TMNT.
It was apparently not including arcade games.
Oh, okay.
So Kieran's first was
Kieran's was
Yeah,
Flower.
I believe that.
I do believe
on
it
PlayStation.
Too.
That's my first, but definitely not on 360.
Oh, well,
but
you don't.
That,
use,
yeah.
No,
we
went associated platform.
Yeah.
You're
Nobody knows what you are on Xbox. We
can't talk to your past lives.
I'm amazed you like 100%ed a game on Xbox because you're like such a platinum
Xbox boy.
I was well into achievements in the Xbox 360 era. I had like
a
couple 100,000 at some point.
That's really intense.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyway, a bit of fun, something different.
That was great. I love the theme.
Yes, that's it.
It certainly kept things spicy as well because James is now just 1 point behind Brody, and Kieran and myself remain tied, but have closed the gap a little bit on you, Shannon. So it's exciting stuff.
It is.
Anyhow, with that, let's bring an end to what was this week's episode of the Press Start podcast. Subscribe to us on Listener or the podcast service of your choice. Follow us at press.au and visit the site at pressstart.com.au. We've been joined today by Kieran.
Yeah, I'm HASH_BRAUN on X.
So getting used to that. Also joining us today and hosting with the Wiki, it was Shannon.
Yeah, you can follow me at Shannon Grixty on X and everything else.
And last but not least, taking home the points in What the Wiki today, it was James.
Did I? I didn't take them all, did I? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you,
Well,
you did.
Not all four, but
no,
you
yes,
won.
well, I would have preferred.
You
can't have
took the
four.
2. You're like the winner of
Yeah,
the round. That's how
okay.
it works.
Thank you for explaining the game to me, Ewan. You can find me.
That he's won 7 times in a row.
You can find me on.
That he was just asking questions
If
about.
everyone quiets down, you can find me on X at James ATJMZ.
And I've been your host, Ewan Roxburgh. You can follow me on Twitter at Ewan_Roxburgh. I'm still calling it Twitter, I guess. Or
I don't know. I
see,
don't want
this
to
is the-
dignify
I've-
it, but
I've
like
through-
it's less syllables. It's just kind of easier.
I've screwed myself over now as well because on Twitter I've still got the underscore, but on Threads, I do too. It's the
It's
same.
so
It's
hard.
the same both. Ignore
Life
me.
is
It's
so
Ewan
hard.
_Roxburgh.
Isn't it you?
Thanks again for tuning in, and until next time, happy gaming.
Bye.
Lucky there's only one
Bye.
Shannon Grixty. Bye.